Damn.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not too much. What's up, Billy?
Yeet.
What?
Insert red limiter clip here.
Wow. Hey, this thing turned off. We were waiting for that.
Don't mind the garage.
What do we do?
Low budget cross-eyed fab here.
So we've been fabbing on this thing for, I mean, yesterday was a couple hours today. And I guess we'll just start from the beginning. From what was the first issue you noticed?
Steering is the issue with portals. The portals themselves, they're fine. So far, they take a hit, they're good. Nothing wrong with that. What doesn't take a hit is all the feedback in the steering wheel.
Your hands.
It sucks.
You must just, well, I got a comment about that one time. That guy needs new hands. Maybe you need new hands. You can hold on to that steering wheel better. Alright, so we've got the bad feedback on the steering wheel when you hit like rocks or climb hills or ruts.
And it's not even big rocks or ruts and it's pretty much you run over this WD-40 can.
Oh my god, what was that?
Jesus.
Did the wheel just fall off?
But a real problem is the stock location where the tie rod goes, which would be this bolt.
So that's the knuckle that comes with like the actual portal kit or whatever you want to call it.
It can hyperextend. And by meaning hyperextend, it means that when the tire turns all the way, this goes all the way forward and smashes into the A-arm. So it would like roll past and then the tire would be like a 90-degree.
Yeah, so at full lock like that, you know, this would create like a bind point. I don't know how to really show it, but
it sucked. It hurt.
And we literally had to hook up a winch to his wheel and pull it back to straight. So I mean,
so this is our first attempt at fabbing it up. We've seen lots of people talk about what they make, what they change, whatever. We already know that the YXZ has like the smallest turning radius, least amount of throw with the steering rack, whatever. It doesn't turn as much as the other brands. So keeping that in mind, we, screwed up. The fab work looks nice and it does a great job. I can't even feel us running the tire into something at all. Turns way easier because it's about 1.5 inches back, but it's way too far back. And I believe it's at full cut right now.
Yeah, this is full cut.
yeah, so I mean, if I stand back.
So I literally can't even get out my driveway with doing like a turnaround, a 5-point turn.
Yeah, I mean, this is full cut. And like what he's saying here is by making this bracket that extends back, it puts the tie rod like straight with the rack, which then gives the rack more leverage over the knuckle, reducing feedback. So like as you kick this thing, like before, it used to move the steering wheel like a bunch, like if it's in the stock location. And honestly, it'll probably be back at the stock location, and we could show you, what the wheel does when you kick it versus like what we were just doing.
So we spaced it out too much for anybody that's wanting portals or whatever. I mean, the portals are good themselves. You just have to deal with the steering issues, and it's a battle. And I'm not sure if you don't ever see too many YXZs with it. So
yeah, and the way we did it, the spacing, is we put a plate on here, drilled 3 holes. One that goes through the stock, or the old tie rod hole, then this hole, and then we were hoping to go to this one too and gain like the most leverage, but we lost so much steering going to this one that one's irrelevant. But then we also welded on this tab here, and this is all 5/8 steel, and we drilled a hole through the knuckle and bolted it, so then there's these 2 planes, so that way, it would bind together and work as a new steering knuckle basically.
it's kind of a temporary fab just to gather information.
Yeah, we wanted to see how much it would help the the leverage side of things and how much steering we'd really lose. And then another reason why if you go this method, you can't drill a hole any closer. Like you couldn't split this distance because then you'd be into the, I don't know if you can even see that, it might be dark. But like the nut of the bolt and everything would be, you know, half on the knuckle, half not, the old knuckle, so.
So we got one other thing to try, as Justin just
Jesus, almost just fell on his floor jack.
He's getting wild with this wild cherry Pepsi.
This thing looks sick though, I don't think they've seen it.
No, she's off. Painted, we're in my garage. You know. I'm still blue. I wouldn't have to die.
It looks really good blue though. Sick.
Looks good for being painted right on a machine.
Yeah, didn't even pull it off, just sent it. So yeah, the only other thing that I think we're gonna try or at least look into is what, spacing.
We're gonna try and space it back with the piece of plate we got.
So we're gonna pull this apart and we'll show you what we mean by that. But until then, I want to touch quick with how you guys made the Warn winch fit in the stock. The Warn 5500 winch fit in with the stock, I think this is the Yamaha front bumper.
Well, you see here, we got our old friend the Sawzall out. Hack these bars right off, you know, in about 3 seconds, flat. And we're like, oh man, it'll fit for sure now. Hacked out the front nose of plastic, put me a rock light in there, because you know, lights before lockers.
Light bars before lockers.
Oh wait.
He took the light bar off.
Kinda.
Yeah, for now until it blows.
And anyway, you know, this big old honky donkey, she's wide. So in order to center her on the center of the center, if you think what I thought you thunk.
Oh jeez. It's getting spicy now.
Anyway, to make it protected evenly on both sides of the bumper, I had to drill new holes on the bottom to center that with the protection. But it didn't center the spool in the center of where the fairlead would go. So, you know, I had to drill some new holes on that too. And as you can tell, it bolts here, and it used to bolt here with, you know, that magical bar that's non-existent.
Yeah, the one that the Sawzall deleted.
So, to make a new point, you know, we just bust out my grinder, and it made 2 more new points to keep this thing where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And the winch itself too had to be like half-inch spaced up from the bottom.
We got our magical clearance tool. Where is it? It's on the floor out here somewhere.
Okay, that hammer.
The hammer. Gave her a couple whacks here,
there she
you know.
is, right next to the pizza oven. You got the essentials. But yeah, but back to what Billy said, it had to be spaced because this would hit this tube, you know, for the bumper. So just had to put a couple, well, like square washers, like, I don't know, what'd you guys space, like a 1/2 inch?
We used 2 square washers. Home Depot's got these fancy strut washers with magnets in it. It's awesome.
So you could drill a hole, throw those washers on, and it'd space up the bumper. There's probably more people that might be curious about this side of the video versus the portals. I mean, for their own sake, I hope that's what they'd be more interested in. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all you got for the winch side of it, right?
Yeah, it was a piece of cake. I mean, you run 2 wires and plug in a quick connector, and
Yeah.
this winch is awesome. It's easy, accessible, you know, just a little good to go. All my buddies out there need to pull some cable while I'm just stuck in the cab. Pull the cable, bro.
Yeah, it's really accessible, so pretty cool. It looks good. I think the whole setup looks good. He painted the roof white, which is sick. The cage blue, kind of like tied where the bumper is tied into the cage now. Just kind of like faded the black to blue.
Blur out that weld, boy.
Oh yeah, you guys can't see the weld. No, I mean,
Grinder fixed it.
yeah, the grinder took care of it. Looks good though. Up there, we won't show you close.
Hey, those were good.
No, I'm just kidding. It'll get the job done, but this painted the sliders blue, the rear bumper blue, so that's all fresh. Monsters, these cleaned up a bit. What this might be something else people might want to know. This is the paint you used, I assume, right?
It sure is.
Ink blue.
Satin.
Ink blue satin. It was about spot on.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, you can see here, this was even painted half-assed. And I mean...
Yeah, there was like some paint chipping and stuff.
Yeah, so we just painted it, and it's really hard to tell. Probably can't tell at all on camera.
No, definitely not. So, I know I've seen posts on that kind of stuff in the past, looking for spray paint that matches factory colors, but that's pretty spot on. So yeah, we're gonna pull apart this front steering and look at spacing the whole stock knuckle back a little bit. So that way it would only go back like a ½ inch or 3/8 of an inch or whatever, and hopefully at least get rid of the hyperextending of the tie rods. But it's still...
It should give a little, it should be a little bit of feedback, there should be less.
Yeah, you should gain a little bit of leverage, but...
Won't be as dramatic as what we have here, obviously. It'll be like a third of what I have now, so hopefully it's the sweet spot. So
Yeah.
people say it is. We'll see. They don't have a YXZ, but
The only other
I'm
thing...
sure they fab up plenty of other things just like we're trying here, but you just don't see the trial and errors.
Yeah, right. And we're trying to be as brutally honest as we can. I know I've seen a couple comments and things of the nature of what's your verdict, whether the portal's a good idea or not. I mean, we'll give you a quick... I'll say my opinion for what it's worth. You know, take it for what it is. I would say there'd be solid investment for mudding, but the things they do to the steering, and I haven't even driven the machine, but I can just see it. Enter clip here. And, you know, I just see what it does to the steering, and I've seen the confidence that it dropped Josh's, you know, the level of confidence he lost a lot because of how much feedback there is. So if we could fix or figure out the steering issue, then, you know, it seems to be going good so far. But granted, and if you're new here because of the portals, this is a fairly early review on the portals. So if we figure out the steering, you know, we haven't ran them that long, so it's just what we've learned so far. Take that for what it's worth. Maybe if you're about to order some, maybe hold off and stay tuned and, you know, and gather some more info, because it's definitely a big investment.
That's for sure.
As far as your opinion, Josh, I think you're...
I mean, I don't really like them for how I ride.
Yeah.
If they don't break any parts, then maybe my opinion will change. But as of now, I don't care for them. The steering input is just, it absolutely sucks. I'm not even comfortable like driving up stuff that I wouldn't think twice about trying to jump it.
Yeah, right. I mean, you could see that in our last videos at the Badlands for sure.
What about like ground clearance too? I'm gonna touch on that.
Yeah, so this is actually, I mean, it looks rowdy in my opinion now. It looks rowdy now, he slammed it, so.
Yeah, it's slammed as far as it can go, so it's got like 14 or 15 inches at the wheel of clearance, and about 17 at the highest point in the belly, in the front and the back.
So I mean, I just watched that video yesterday to see, and I mean, that's basically where I'm at. Wheel and everything. Stock center of my radius rods with the Fox tune with stock radius rods is like 13.5 in the middle of the radius rod. So I mean, we're running about the same ground clearance now. So that was one thing he big gained when it was lifted up. But the downside to having it lifted up the way it was, you know, the same ride height, the same suspension tune, we'll call it, that he was running on the 30-inch Roxxzillas, it almost was like it wanted to just roll backwards.
Yep, it was real. The front end, you could just tell.
The center of gravity just wasn't ideal anymore.
Yeah, it just wanted a wheelie, which is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, and take that from somebody who knows all about rolling backwards.
Wheelies are my thing.
But yeah, Josh tried that same climb and he barely even made it like anywhere up it, and the thing just straight up wanted to roll backwards. On the V-notch, it wanted to roll backwards. You'd let the clutch out, you could literally watch the front end just start to like pull off.
Yeah, I mean, even on our, you know, we'll say our like always OG climbs.
Yeah, that's what we call it, the OG climb.
Yeah, the one that we just, you know, normally just don't even think twice about. You know, you could see it trying to wheelie again. This is really weird.
Yeah, I mean, it literally picked up this tire, the front driver tire. Josh hasn't seen the video yet, but driving up the normal climb that we've driven up with, you know, stock 900S's and stuff. And this thing, like, it literally lost traction, which doesn't make any sense because it's running 32-inch stickies, Roxxzillas on straight rock. And like just the way that the only thing that makes sense is just the way that the center of gravity pulled the front end off. It just lost traction. I don't know. I mean, the horns drove right up it. But then I have the same exact tire and I drove right up it. So,
I mean, that's weird. It makes it do weird things, that's for sure.
yeah, so on top of the negatives that come with the steering, I mean, maybe if you're here with a different machine, you know, the steering could be a little different as far as fixing the issue. I don't know. Like there's machines that are out there that have, I mean, people are coming out with full hydro, you know.
Yeah, but not for the Yamaha.
Yeah, there's no one running that. And we've been talking about it a little bit, but it's like, it's almost, we wonder
if fab some alternator kit on there, put a Chevy 350 pump on it, and run a hydro if we want it, double-ended ram and stuff, but it'd be like some serious fab, and then...
And not even know like how the motor is going to create pressure with that pump and everything. Like with some of the different machines, there is kits out there to run hydro and portals. I mean, it sounds like a stout setup. And trust us, we wanted this to work more than you guys know. You know, we thought this was going to be
Game changer.
Yeah, we really did for the YXZ. We thought this was going to help take a lot of the strain off the diff. Oh, talk about that quick while we're still talking.
When we're talking about that, I mean, everybody knows the front diff and four-wheel drives, you know, it's an open diff. But with the added portal gearing, for whatever reason, a straight line in the snow, it doesn't spin both tires. It spins one. It just always spins like one, and it's just super easy. Like one tire, like an idle speed, it'll spin.
Yeah,
So the
I
diff
mean, it's
action
really
is
strange.
super open. It's just...
And don't ask us why or how that works, because we don't understand how adding portals made that worse, but I mean, it did.
noticeable the very first time I drove it.
It was noticeable to where Josh is going from straight two-wheel drive to diff lock, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had it in four-wheel drive for the first Cliffs day, and it was like you go down the regular trail and not even flex yet, and it's spinning one tire. And it was just, it was something that I really noticed. These are all the negatives, though. We're not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We haven't seen a positive. Yeah. At least I haven't seen one.
I mean, a positive. It's geared lower. Is that a positive?
Yeah, I mean, a positive. It created you. Geez, I can't even think of the word. It made it able for you to run 32s. I mean, some people run them stock, but I don't think that's the right setup. Personally, especially a sticky Roxxzilla, maybe a lighter 32, but that doesn't really gain you too much when... I mean,
it did gain ground clearance.
Yeah.
You have to have it slammed. You could raise the ride height. I'm trying to play with suspension to try and get it still low to where I can still do the big ledge climbs and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm trying to battle with feedback. And I think that's the biggest thing is the feedback. Because on the V-notch climb at the Badlands, Billy, you can watch, just go up the first ledge, look at it, commit, dump the clutch, jump right up the thing. Every time. He just jumps right over it. I go to it, touch one ledge with my tire, and then rips the steering wheel out of my hand. Doesn't do it because I'm expecting it, but you probably can't see me in there.
Yeah, you gotta death grip the steering wheel to not have it.
To death grip it, to try and keep it where I want it. And then at the top of the V-notch, you gotta kind of turn in to the notch. Well, then I'm like, fighting it. It's pulling this way, and then all of a sudden it goes, oh, let's turn left. full cut, and then you can see the tire just do scary things because there's traction and it's.
Yeah, I mean,
The steering is a issue, and it sucks. Oh no, is that the UPS man?
yeah, they're the guys building my shop right now. I don't know, but. So that's where my opinion came from. This is a long clip. I'm gonna get back to taking this apart, but that's where my opinion came from with as far as when I said it would help for mud. Because it obviously gears the machine lower to where you can run bigger tires. Mud doesn't really matter with the steering as much. Like the steering's not, I mean, it still performs, you know.
It's just there is a ton of feedback.
Right, and when you're trying to ride technical terrain where you need to hold your own line and you're hill killing and stuff like that, where, you know, you're spinning the tires, bouncing up a hill, I mean, feedback's not what you're after.
Yeah, you want it to be as
When you're on a mountain.
planted as possible,
Yeah.
as in control.
So that's the biggest thing I can say is it seems like it'd be good for mud or maybe just, I don't know. I mean, that's the best I can come up with as of now anyways. You know, maybe we will see advantages. We're going to Tennessee to do some riding in the mountains, Royal Blue, Tacky Creek next week. So, I mean, these are still going to be on there. Not sure what steering setup we're going to be running at the time. It could be back in the Super ATV, you know, knuckles, or we could have spaced the knuckles. We're gonna look into that right now and we'll get back to you guys.
Okay, so before, when we jack it up, or even when you'd see it like climbing a hill or whatever, and the front end was loose, so the tires would do the ducky. So obviously the geometry for how the Super ATV has the stock steering set up, when the front end would lift up, so if we jacked it up, it would tow out like just totally cross-eyed.
And do that Duramax truck pulling stuff.
Well, that would be in.
In, out, same tain.
Yeah, I mean, it would do some wild stuff. So now that we moved them back too far, that now we have no steering. But it did fix. The tires are still completely straight with it off the ground, when before they'd be like 8 inches towed out.
Man, Maxxis just looks dope. Oh, look what we got spooled up on the YouTube. Hey, it's Billy.
Shameless plug. We need 10,000 views on that bid by next weekend.
Next weekend?
We need 900 more. Probably not.
You guys haven't seen that video? Check it out.
Yeah.
That's actually a good one. Driving the side, that was a fun one.
Yeah. That was a fun one. We still need to make our videos about Winrock too.
Yeah,
one of these days.
I want to do that one of these days, but keep having to work on this.
That's actually why we're rewatching our own videos.
Yeah,
Possibly because we all hit our heads too many times. You can't remember anything.
yeah. I mean,
Probably not though. We
We
just
still gotta do the video for the fans of the old school bids before we made a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I'll sit down, and I don't know how it works. You can spool it up to a TV off your phone.
yeah, as you can tell, we are construction workers and not tech savvy.
No. I feel like we could though somehow.
do what?
To like show the clips on the TV and we like talk about it so people could see what we're watching.
Yeah,
Or we could try to just spool them.
yeah.
We could do like that Family Guy episode where they commentate on their commentating in the video.
Yeah, see? I don't know. We had some fun stuff back before videos were a thing and stuff.
Yeah, so if you guys have grasped what we were just talking about, we'll be doing a video, I don't know when, but pretty soon we've got a bunch of like phone clips. You know, how normal,
Justin's got some captain in them.
oh my gosh. About how like normal people film, you know, like just their phone and stuff. So we've got a bunch of clips before we start making videos. We're gonna sit down and like show you guys all that stuff. It's our old rig, it's
Yeah,
minus Billy.
minus me, dude.
But it's kind of a whole different rig now. I mean,
OG.
things work. But, and different, I mean, it was Black Mountain, some Badlands clips, just some random stuff, so it'd be kind of cool. And then we're gonna do like favorite trails and likes and dislikes on Winrock, since that's such a big park. And I mean, I think a lot of people look into that and want to know what they have to offer. So, yeah.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. That's all, folks.
We're not. All right, so we got this side all taken apart. It's actually back together now, but we told you we were going to show you the next idea for fixing the steering or helping the steering. We don't really know.
Hey, let's hear it. B-double-J Fab.
B-double-J. Billy, Josh, Justin. Oh, I got it. Fab. Anyways.
Fabricator behind the camera. Dr. Weldedall.
Portals. So anyways, we spaced, so this bracket is normally butted up to here
2 henchmen
and bolted together. And we spaced it off. This is actually 1/2 of an inch. And it pushes this point 1/2 inch that way. And in theory, giving it a better angle.
Angle on the fandangle.
Jeez, I can't talk.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Back out,
Don't mind Josh in the background. So anyways, that's what we did. There's 3 bolts. There's these 2 here. There's 1 in the back, and you had to re-drill some stuff. It wasn't that cool. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully it helps. I don't think it'll be as good for leverage, but we're hoping that it fixes, that at least fixes the hyperextending issue.
Succotash.
So we've done some research. People have moved it, 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch, and I don't know. They say good things, but those are also different machines. So take this for what it's worth. I mean, we're not really trying to make this like a bash portal video, because I mean, all different machines have different steering geometry. So I mean, that's definitely something to take into consideration. We don't know. We've heard and read some comments that YXZ steering geometry isn't the greatest factory. So maybe, adding the portals hurts that even more than it was. I don't know, but so we're only speaking from it in the YXZ standpoint. As far as the portal boxes themselves, we haven't had any issues with those, and these are the Gen 2 ones. But other than that, I know there was something we wanted to add before we went to lunch. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this machine just bricks her at all 55 mile an hour, 5th gear, 10G. Oh, sorry about the F, but I didn't say the whole word.
So yeah, I mean,
versatile person like 60-inch panel tires on, I'll be able to go like 80.
The one thing we wanted to add was top speed is not very fast.
no, I mean 60 miles an hour I think is what I've seen, and that's straight up bouncing limiter. So clearly, you're going to be significantly lower than that to be like cruising.
Just call me 50 Cent. Just a club.
Why?
Club limit up.
Because that's all I got is about 50.
Jesus. So, I don't know. Our next trip to Tackett, I believe there's going to be some road riding. That ought to be interesting. Let's just pray for these bolts and hopefully they make it. But, yeah, I don't know. So, definitely lots of negatives. Haven't really seen too many positives as far as our riding and our experiences yet, but we've only had it out 2 times. So, keep that in mind as far as you guys moving forward. So that's our biggest thing. We're just trying to stay honest. We're not trying to bash anyone's products. It's just simply, we have a lot of, you guys that are asking questions in the comment section, and we want to be as truthful as we can. And I mean, I hate to say this, but here's another negative. We don't know for sure. The axle that broke was not the side that was already hyperextended. I mean, it broke the other side. Sure, something could have bound, and it could have been because it was hyperextended, maybe, but I don't know. It's just not a good thought in the back of our brains either. I don't know what Josh has on that, but same thoughts pretty much.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be, easier on axles with portals, so we hear. And then knowing that we broke one the first ride isn't very promising.
So yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about that too much just because of the fact that it already was,
It was hyperextended and previously seen when the tire bends and the tire is, a 90-degree angle. We don't see the axle last very long.
yeah.
So
Just the fact that it broke on the diff side is the only reason why it's like kind of a thing to bring up. Just something to stay. I mean, in my opinion, if I was following our channel and I was thinking about buying portals, I would definitely wait and hold off, see if we can figure out the steering issue. And
it's not that it's hard to steer, there's just so much violent feedback. Like if you're trying to bump some ledge or do something, not even wild, it's not the same. It's just not the same.
even like when you bump up a ledge and you know, it goes full droop, the way the geometry is with this setup, well, hopefully not this setup, but the other setup, like that it comes in a kit, you know, the tires would like pinch together and go wide, like it just, and that's what's doing, that's what it's doing on the hills when it's getting, you know, buck and the suspension's unloading and loading. So, I don't know, just trying to share everything.
So keeping in mind to look at the front tires of portal cars. Take 2. Keep that in mind to watch the front tires of portal cars.
Are you Daddy Shark over there or what?
Keep that in mind. I mean, I'm just saying, like, not everybody tells you all the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. Is to
this is going me up the hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna pray that the wheel doesn't rip out of his hands and he goes the right direction.
Then you can steer a little more than 15 degrees. He doesn't have to make a 40-point turn just to load it on the trailer.
Yeah, right. First thoughts / test. It's like 0 degrees, it's great.
Doesn't matter.
No. Portals. I mean, he's got some angle back, that's for sure.
Definitely matters.
But I think he probably definitely lost a little bit. So before when we were running the high steer arms, I don't think we filmed this, but he couldn't even turn in this roundabout. Not looking too promising. No. I mean, yeah, so he had to stop because he was in the snowbank already. I don't think he's gonna cut this side, but it's a pretty horrible turning radius, all things considered, but I don't even know what it would have done stock either. And we haven't done the alignment yet either, so it seems like it turns really far driver.
One tire was like about to fold off the wheel and we were driving.
It's not centered. Driver goes way further. Watch, it'll turn way sharper this way. It goes way further driver than passenger. Definitely goes a lot further driver than passenger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought so. Just looking at it.
Or you just look at it.
First thoughts, though? I mean,
It's way better. Whether or not the feedback's going to be way better, I mean,
the tie rods do, I mean, they're on a little bit of an angle, but I think they're a lot straighter than they were.
The Lawson steering that I have now is more manageable than what we had before.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a good kick test.
You're gonna fall on your ass.
I mean, it's
Hit that ice pile.
With one tire.
See what happens, like let go of the wheel.
I mean, it definitely ripped the whole wheel out of his hand, but
Yeah, but
I think it's gonna do that if you're not holding it.
you just hold on to it and see if it like really fights you.
No?
Going about the off-road, we test our shit, we're running it in the tree.
We just drive straight in, we test our stuff.
Oh yeah. Climb it, do it if you're bad.
Alright, let's pull it inside and talk about it. So, back inside in the warmth, kind of warm, but
It's definitely way better. I mean, I didn't hit the tree obviously with speed or anything, but before there was so much leverage, it basically ripped the wheel out of my hand.
yeah, or you'd be really, really fighting it. Obviously, I can't see how strong you're holding the wheel, but
Barely was. Just enough to keep it.
so you'd think that'd be a true testament. I mean, crawling a boulder is not vertical like that. I mean,
The first
in
thing
some
I know.
instance, but
First thing I end up trying to bump, we're gonna know for sure. Right away.
Yeah, anything with any kind of speed,
yeah,
like tree run climb or something, you know.
right. Or even like a V-notch where you hit one wall harder than the other.
It seemed much better. I mean, how much did we space it?
We spaced it a half inch.
Half inch.
A little over half.
I thought with the smaller washer it was exactly half.
You're the same thing.
So it was 5/8.
Yeah.
No, not even. It was like a 16.
Yeah.
Just call it half inch. It's basically half an inch. And I mean, so we didn't really do a test. I guess that's kind of one negative. We didn't do a test on the stock setup, you know, with the portals.
Put the wheel all the way once.
But anyways, we didn't do a stock test on like the cul-de-sac or the roundabout, whatever you want to call it. Not a roundabout, but
I mean, it's way more.
So now, too, it doesn't look like it'll invert.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean.
But I mean, it barely did it before, I'm thinking, so.
Yeah.
So they should at least get rid of that. And now it'll just blow the rack apart probably, but so then, I mean, if this gets rid of the feedback, there is a rack out there, you knew the numbers is what?
Stock's like 3 inches of throw, and then there was for 2 turns lock to lock. And then there's another one that's 3.5 inches lock to lock at 2 turns, and then there's another one 3.5, but it's like 1.4 turns lock to lock, so it's like a steering quickener wrap.
Yeah.
Not that I really need that, but
So both of them are 3.5?
yeah, one's just,
So you get a half inch more throw each way or total?
I believe it's just total.
So it'd be like 2.5.
It's 3 inches.
Right? Something like that.
No, it's still 2 inches lock to lock.
Oh,
It's just like the way the gearing is in the portal, it turns further but the
Yeah,
same
right.
amount. So there is one that's got a little bit more throw.
I mean, a half inch out of 3 inches is a pretty significant amount.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a solid percentage when you
Yeah.
look at it that way. So I don't know, you know, it still seemed pretty good as far as turning radius. So maybe if going, you know, this route, just spacing that off, and then when you have to go rack, because there's no way the stock one's going to put up, I mean, we'll see how long it lasts, but, you know, if you upgraded and gained a little bit more throw back with it, if this took care of the feedback issue or majority of the feedback issue, then maybe we'd be back in business, but
Won't know until we find that out, basically. I mean, I feel like any little bit will really help with feedback, because it's violent.
right.
So.
Anyways, I think that's all we got for you guys. It's our opinion, take it for what it's worth. You know, I'd definitely stick around, stay tuned, and if you're on the edge about the portals, I mean, we're going riding, we're gonna have a lot of content with this thing in a couple weeks probably. You know, we're going riding a week from today, but by the time the videos get out, it'll be a couple weeks, but I do think,
February 20th, so
yeah. I mean, we're going riding like the 28th, hoping to have a video out by the time we get home from the trip. I'll hopefully edit on the way home maybe. I don't know, but it'll definitely be, you know, first couple weeks of March before you see all the content from this down in Tennessee. So I think we'll have a pretty good verdict on the whole setup at the end of that trip, but
We'll learn a lot because that's where I mean, I'd say 75% of our riding's down south. We do our little bit up here, but it's just fill in for big trips.
yeah, for sure. So stay tuned, you know, like, subscribe, check out our merch. I think that's about all I got for you. Anybody else?
I
Bye.
Next one.
That's a wrap.